morning, children. We are back to our class in the chapter transport system. Till now we have learned about the heartbeat and what is the relationship between the heartbeat and pulse, and about arteries and veins. Now we are going to learn about the internal structure of the heart. If you want to see the internal structure of the heart, first of all we have to get the goat heart and cut it in the transverse section. Keep it in a tray. If you observe the outer structure of the heart, it consists of two membranes which are called pericardial membrane, and these two membranes are filled with a fluid called pericardial fluid. This fluid helps the heart from the heart attacks like sudden jerks or accidents, along with the rib cage. Means here not only rib cage, this pericardial membrane and fluid also helps the heart from the injuries. If you see the outer structure, it is a pear shape. The heart is pear shape, triangular in shape. The outer structure, it looks like a triangle. If you see, it is wider at the anterior side but narrow at the posterior side. The heart, it consisting of 4 chambers. Means here 4 chambers. You can see the 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are called auricles, or you can say, and the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. The auricles which are present towards the right side are called right auricle or right atrium, and which are present towards the left side is called left auricle or left atrium. If you observe, this is the lower part. This is the ventricles. The lower part of the heart, we call it as ventricles. The ventricle which is present towards the right side is the right ventricle, and which is present towards the left side is the left ventricle. So in this way the heart, it is divided into 4 chambers. Here you can see the blue color one. It is the pulmonary artery, and here the black color one is the aorta. This is the longest, biggest artery in the human body. The biggest artery is the systemic aorta, whereas the smallest artery is the pulmonary artery. Okay, the largest is the systemic aorta, whereas the smallest is the pulmonary aorta. In the previous class, you have learned that arteries carries the oxygenated blood, whereas the veins carries the deoxygenated blood. That is the impure, which consisting of carbon dioxide, whereas the oxygenated is called pure blood consisting of oxygen. But the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs, whereas remaining all arteries carries the oxygenated blood. Only the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs. Same as the pulmonary vein, it brings oxygenated blood from heart to lungs. See, the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs, and pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. Here heart to lungs, here lungs to heart. Means the system is reverse. If you come to the pulmonary arteries and veins, remaining all arteries carries oxygenated blood, but the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs, and the pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. So here you can see the blue color one is the superior vena cava and the lower one. If you observe here, this is the inferior vena cava. The superior and inferior vena cava brings the deoxygenated blood. The superior one brings from the anterior part of the body, from neck, head. They bring deoxygenated blood from neck and head part. Whereas the inferior vena cava brings deoxygenated blood from the lower parts of the body and get it into the right atrium. So the deoxygenated from the superior and inferior vena cava is brought, that is the deoxygenated blood, into the right atrium. From the right atrium, the blood enters into the right ventricles because of the pumping, the lub-dub sound that you can learn in the next class. Because of the pumping of the blood, due to the pressure of the earth, the blood from the atrium enters into the ventricles. And there is a wall between these atrium, right atrium and right ventricle. We call it is right auriculoventricular septum. It is also called tricuspid wall or mitral wall. Right auriculoventricular septum. It is also called tricuspid wall or mitral wall. And due to the pressure, due to the contraction and relaxation, due to the contraction and relaxation of the heart, the blood which is present in the right ventricle is pushed into pulmonary aorta. Pulmonary aorta. From the pulmonary aorta, the blood reaches to the lungs. So, this is the just a view. This is the heart. From the different parts of the body, the heart reaches the, gets the blood from the auricle and its ventricle. Again the blood is pushed into the lungs. Means from the pulmonary aorta, the blood is given to the lungs. What happens in the lungs? The gases exchange takes place in the alveoli, sacs. So whatever the blood means that impure blood is taken by the alveoli sac and oxygen is given back into the blood and that it becomes oxygenated, or we can say pure blood. This pure blood through the pulmonary vein, from here it enters into the lungs and from the lungs again it gets into the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. Through the pulmonary vein, the oxygenated blood enters into the left atrium, and due to the contraction and relaxation of the heart, the blood which is present in the atrium is pushed into the left ventricle. To the left ventricle. And here also you can see a wall between left auriculoventricular septum. We call it as right auriculoventricular septum. It is also called bicuspid wall. Here what is the necessity of these walls? These tricuspid and bicuspid walls means these walls helps not to move the blood back, means which prevents, these walls prevents the backward flow of the blood from the ventricle to auricle or auricle to ventricles. These walls or septum will automatically close. See here, for example, through the pulmonary vein, the oxygenated blood is reaches into the left atrium. Due to the contraction, the blood enters into the ventricle. Again, due to the relaxation of heart, the blood must go to the systemic aorta. This is the largest aorta. You can see through these. It's a back side. We cannot see from the front. It can reach to the systemic aorta. It must go to the systemic aorta. If the walls are absent between these atrium and ventricle, because of the contraction of the heart, again the blood may enter. The blood must go to the aorta, but it may also enter into the atrium if the walls are absent. So these walls helps the heart to the backward flow. Means it must go in the uniform form. But if the walls are absent, it may enter into the atrium again. It may enter into the atrium instead of going to the aorta. So the walls are important here. So because of the contraction, again the blood is pushed into the left ventricle, and because of the because of these contraction, right ventricle contraction, the blood is pushed into the aorta. There is a systemic aorta. This aorta supplies the blood to all parts of the body. Because of the presence of different arteries. See, this first the blood enter into the right auricle, deoxygenated blood, and next into the ventricle. From the right ventricle, again it reaches to the lungs through the pulmonary artery, and through the pulmonary vein, again the oxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood goes from heart to lungs, whereas oxygenated blood comes from lungs to heart. Again this pulmonary vein, through the pulmonary vein the oxygenated blood reaches the left atrium, and from the left atrium it reaches into the left ventricle, and again from the ventricle it reaches to the aorta, systemic aorta. From the aorta the blood is supplied throughout the body. The oxygenated blood is supplied throughout the body, and each and every cell receives oxygen along with the food materials, and again the cell absorbs the nutrients and oxygen and gives carbon dioxide back into the blood. From the cells again, these superior and inferior vena cava bring the deoxygenated blood back to the right atrium. So the process will continue. Till our life ends. The heart will not stop its work. It will continue its work throughout our life. So this is the process how the blood is rotated from auricles to ventricles, and from the ventricles to again reaches the lungs, and again from the lungs again it reaches the heart. Okay. Here also you can see the walls are present between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery. Right ventricle and pulmonary artery. We call them as pulmonary valves, and you can see from in the left ventricle and the systemic aorta. We call that valve as systemic valves. These valves also prevents the backward flow of the blood from aorta to left ventricle and pulmonary artery to right ventricle. So how these contraction and relaxation takes place means, if the auricles contract, the ventricles are in relaxed state, and when these ventricles are contracted, again the auricles will get relaxed. Means both, means one get contracted and other gets relaxed. Due to this continuous contraction and relaxation, when the ventricles are when the artericles are contracted, the blood is pushed into the ventricles. They will get relaxed. And when these ventricles are contracted, the blood is pushed into either pulmonary artery or to the systemic aorta. If it is oxygenated, it reaches to systemic aorta. If it is deoxygenated, it reaches to the pulmonary artery. And again, when these ventricles get relaxed, the auricles get contracted. The system is continuously work to push the blood throughout our body. See how it is working. There is no end for the heart and its function. If it stops its function, there is no life for us. Because of this blood only we are getting oxygen and food, which gives energy. So I think no doubt in this. If you have any doubts, ask me. If you understand this only, I can explain the next cardiac cycle. Thank you, children. See you in the next class.